Hello students, I am Dr. Garima Srivastava from Lal Bahadur Shastri College, Lucknow. International practices in industrial relations. We have discussed about industrial relations. We have discussed about various factors such as participative management, quality circles, negotiations, the collective bargaining, all these factors in relation to industrial relations in international context. Now, what ILO says, ILO, International Labour Organization, it says industrial relations deal with either the relationship between the state and the employers and workers association, or it is in relation between occupational organizations themselves. So, when we talk about industrial relations, according to ILO, it means the relationship between the government and the employers. It means the relationship between the government and the workers. It is also related to different occupational organizations when we talk in terms of international aspect. International industrial relations handles the complicated associations between the employers and the employees who come from various nationalities, who are from various countries. They can be from host country, they can be from third nation country, they can be from different organizations which are related to national and international federations. So, when the organization is dealing with such a variety of people coming from various countries with various skill sets, with various experience sets, it becomes important that the organization looks into the fact that various aspects related to these workers, these employees are also taken into consideration to bring about conducive industrial relation in the industry. Now, for this purpose, there are certain issues that needs to be checked so that good conducive industrial relations prevail in the industry. So, the very first issue is who should handle industrial relations, who should handle the labor relations. So, this must be made very clear that who is going to handle the relations with the workers and the employer, or with the workers and the management in the industry. The national dissimilarity in economic, political and legal system create diverse labor relation system across countries. So, because there is a very much dissimilarity between the economic conditions, the political conditions or the legal conditions in a country, and it varies from country to country, a number of different factors, labor related factors come into play when we talk about industrial relations. So, over here what happens, MNCs headquarters typically delegate control over labor relations to the foreign subsidiaries. Now, in this case, sometimes what MNCs do, they delegate the control of all the labor related issues to the foreign subsidiaries. Why? Because they are more aware of the laws that prevail in the host country. So, it is dependent on the following four key elements. The very first one, in case there is a high level of subsidiary production integration, the labor relations function is centralized and it is coordinated by headquarters. Now, we have to check out that what level of inter subsidiary function or production is there. If it is of very high level, if it is of very highly integrated level, so over here the same thing can be done as is being done in the headquarter country, or where the headquarter is situated. Now, if this level decreases, if this level is of less complexity and if it is of lesser value, so then in that case it can be handed over somewhat to the foreign subsidiary. The nationality of ownership of subsidiary has an influence on one who should take care of the employee relations. Now, who is the owner, who is actually having the ownership of that subsidiary, whether the person is from the home country or is from the host country, this is an important aspect, that who will handle the employee relations. Furthermore, if we see, subsidiary character has been bearing on to who should deal with employee relation. Now, when talking about subsidiary, there also mostly what happens due to ethnocentric staffing policies, ethnocentric staffing practices of the organization, people from the home country only are placed at the top levels or the middle levels of the management. Now, over here it is important to see that whether these top level of management who come from the home country are aware of various laws related to employee relations. relations. If they are not aware, if they are less aware, they should be more aware of these laws. And along with this, someone from that own host country should also be there, who should look after the employee relations, because both of them can combinedly form different aspects, different framework which will help for conducive employee relations. Finally, where a subsidiary is dependent on its parent company for resources, you will see greater corporate involvement in the labor relations. So if subsidiary is more and more subsidiary dependent on the home country or host or the parent country organization over there, the more involvement of the corporate will be there. The second is how you are going to deal with the tactics of the trade union. Trade unions make use of number of tactics to deal with the international business. Now first one is, the most common one is the strike, which is concerted or temporary suspension of work intended to put pressure on the management. Now of course, over here the second most important issue is how you are going to deal with whatever is being coming up from the way of trade unions. Now as trade unions, they have power, they have members as workers from the industries. They can put up a very a strong strike in front of you. They can put up a stoppage on work of your organization, and how you are going to deal with it. Over here, if a strike happens, will the person from the home country be able to deal with it, or a person from the same host country will be dealing with it? This will be a proper decision to make. Now form International Trade Secretariat, ITS. There are 15 ITS who help the exchange of information. Main objective of ITS is to accomplish transactional bargaining within the MNCs. So these ITS, if you form these ITS, International Trade Secretariats, you will be able to come to a conclusion, you will be able to come to a negotiation within MNC related to any of the issues that come from the employees. Then lobbying of limited national legislations. Trade unions have for several years lobbied for restrictive national legislations in US and Europe. Now when we talk about national legislations, every country has its own legislations and its amendments which are related to employee, their salary, their wages, or their leaves, their other kinds of benefits. So trade unions are all aware of these particular benefits that is to be given to the workers. So you as a worker, you as an employer, both have to look into the fact that you are more aware of these laws. Then intervention of global bodies like ILO, UNCTAD, European Union, OECD, in which ILO has issued guidelines which cover disclosure of information, competition, financing, employment, industrial relations, taxations, science and technology. So this intervention by various bodies, they have helped the various subsidiaries in the host country to work in a very smooth manner as related to industrial relations, because they have given a framework, they have given a base work of laws, rules, regulations that will be implied on both the workers and the management of the industry, so as to work in a more smooth manner as compared to without laws or without governing laws. Then comes the third issue, that is the political issues that an organization faces in the host country. There are three phases of industrial relations, which is international union movement encounters in international environment, specifically social democracy, neoliberalization and authoritarian. Now these three factors, which are related to political factor, which are related to governing bodies in that host country, they pose a threat to the workers as well as the management. They put up a pressure on the workers as well as the management, somewhat in the form that they come in a conflicting situation with each other. So it is necessary that these issues are resolved with the help of social democracy. You give encouragement to the people to come up with their problems, to come up with their issues, grievances themselves, and management should also be proactive, should be taking initiative to solve these problems at the earliest. Then comes the fourth issue, that is social and identity. Now, a key problem with the international labor movement and specifically international collective bargaining is the absence of identity that individual workers have. So, there is a need to give identity, there is a need to give recognition to the people who are working in your organization, the workers, the employers who are working in your organization. So, this identity will bring in a feeling of belongingness, they will become more loyal, they will give more productivity to the organization. So, this is certainly an issue that needs to be taken care of when we talk about industrial relations to improve industrial relations. The next issue is power and knowledge. So we all know that power is vested with a person who has enough knowledge, who has a complete knowledge about whatever topic he is talking about. So of course there is a need to educate the workers, there is a need to train or to assimilate information to the workers as regards to their wages, their leaves, their transparency of different policies related to different benefits that are being given to the workers. If you are being transparent enough with your employees, with your workers, you give them power because they have enough knowledge. They won't just go to the trade unions or just go to the labor courts taking up cases which are baseless. So of course they should be given this knowledge that what they can legally get in that country and what is not legal or what they cannot get in that country according to the law or the rules of that particular country. So it also helps the management to take proper decisions at the very right time. Now, these were the issues which were related to the industrial relations, which should be kept in mind. They present as a challenge in front of the international industrial relations, so as to bring about more conducive environment between the workers and the management. Apart from these, certain international practices are also there which needs to be considered. First is labor laws. Now when we talk about labor laws, they are the legal norms, they are the rules, regulations which regulate the issues which are concerning the work, like how many hours you can work, what will be the shifts of working, how much time will you be given for break periods, or you can go for canteens, or how many leaves will be allowed, how many leaves without wages will be allowed. All these are related to labor laws also. So one of the international practice that the management should be aware of and the workers should also be aware of is the labor laws that are applied in that particular host country. Now over here certain conventions are also applied in the host country of which this host country is a member of. So these conventions need to be embedded, need to be taken in consideration into the laws that are prevailing in that particular country. Next is leadership training. Now leadership training exactly means that you are going to train the people, the influential people, the top level management people of your subsidiary to tackle these situations, to tackle the issues that come up through the trade unions in the best possible manner. So over there tackling will also involve the type of leadership, the type of style of leadership that the management is going to take up. Of course when we talk about a type of leadership, it should be a laissez-faire kind of leadership, because you have to encourage the workers to come up with different issues. At the same time you have to present your solutions that you can give to your workers. Third is collective bargaining. Collective bargaining always allows both the sides of negotiation as fair employment relationships and prevent costly labor disputes. Workers have equal voice in negotiation and the outcome is fair and equitable. Some of the relevant ILO instruments that have been put up so to safeguard the interests of the workers are: first is right to organize and collective bargaining convention 1949. This is one of the law that has been set up by ILO. It was made to encourage and promote the full development and utilization of machinery for voluntary negotiation between employers and the employees. So it sets up a type of network for which will promote full development of the employee as well as the industry. That means it will take into consideration overall growth of the organization. Second is Labor Relations Public Service Convention 1978. The convention promotes collective bargaining for public employees as well as other methods allowing public employees to representatives to participate in the determination of their conditions of employment. So it is directly related to the conditions of employment, and these conventions are almost applied to all of the subsidiaries in the host country. Next one is Collective Bargaining Convention 1981 defines collective bargaining and calls for promotion of all the branches of economic activity including public services. So over here, through these conventions, through awareness of these conventions, what workers can do, they can present their ideas, they can present their issues or grievances in front of the management, and management can definitely come up with various solutions to the workers. Then resources. Take advantage of resources available to HR staff, supervisors and managers. Continuing educational courses, workshops, seminars on the labor management or building up more and more conducive industrial relations. These resources can be enriched enough, and if the relation between the employer and the employee is more of a conducive nature, is more of a, you can say, a developmental nature, the organization will definitely look into the growth of its employee, and employee will look into the growth of his or her organization. Then fifth element which needs to be checked when we talk about industrial relation is union free workplace. Now we can say union free workplace means an organization where a trade union does not appear at all. So union free workplace sometimes strengthens the bond between the employer and the employee. Why? Because employee can directly move to the management with their demands, they can move with their issues to the management, and management will directly look into these issues, into these demands, and will come up with probable solution to the workers. A kind of pressure that was being put up by the presence of trade unions will be reduced. The next one is grievance handling. Grievance handling means handling of various disputes, various grievances on the part of the employee, and presenting them in front of the employer, so that the employer is able to come up with various solutions to these grievances. Now we have certain reasons why these grievances come up. In an organization, a grievance may arise due to several factors. The very first one is violation of management's responsibilities, such as poor working conditions. So one of the major responsibility of the management is to supply good working conditions, give good working conditions to the workers. So if they are not there, they will definitely present a grievance situation in front of the management. Second is violation of companies rules and regulations. So whatever are the companies rules and regulations or the factories rules and regulations that apply in that host country, if you do not abide by them, you violate as a management. So over there it will give a reason for grievances to the employees. Violation of labor laws. All the labor laws related issues should be abided with. If there is any kind of violation on the part of management, definitely this will give grievances, increase grievances amongst the employees. Then violation of natural rules of justice, like fair treatment in promotion, then fair treatment in transfers, different appraisal systems, so should be very clear and transparent. All these systems should be clear and transparent, and if you violate these rules, definitely there will be grievances. Now coming on to the next topic, that is shifts in IHRM and IR. Now over here we need to understand what is the specific relationship between international human resource management and industrial relation, because when we talk about international human resource management, industrial relations in international aspect also come into play. So over here we have certain endogenous factors and exogenous factors of the organization, which are taken into consideration, and which according to which human resource department needs to shift from older policies, older rules, regulations to the newer policies and rules and regulations. So when we talk about exogenous factors, industry characteristics and country or region characteristics are important to state. Exogenous factors, we can say, are the external factors which are external to the organization, which are less controllable by the organization. They are the factors which are related to the characteristics that that your organization belong, characteristics of the industry that the organization belong, and they are also related to the characteristics of that country itself, like the cultural aspect, the language differences, the type of management, the type of leadership is there in the host country. Then we have the exogenous factors. When talking about the exogenous factors, we can say a structure of the international operations, how you are going to operate your international perspectives. Then headquarter international orientation, is your subsidiary based on the orientation of the headquarters organization? That means, is it based on the principles that the headquarter is following? Competitive strategy, the strategy that you are building up as compared to your competitors, like the strategies related to employee welfare, it is related to training, the different strategies related to staffing, all these strategies competitively with the, in comparison with your competitors. Then the last one is experience in managing international operation. Now, experience in managing or international operation, how far the person whom you are sending as an expatriate is experienced in his work. Now, both these factors, exogenous factors as well as endogenous factors, along with strategies of an multinational enterprise, will define what kind of human resource management functions you are going to perform in the external factor. So, a different term, that is strategic international human resource management, comes into play. That means international human resource management being done in a strategic manner. What will be the different strategies to tackle all the situations which are related to international human resource management, and will definitely lead to international relations, industrial relations, conducive industrial relations. Now, when we talk about industrial relations, there have been years of strife and free economic growth, resulting in conducive relations as respected specialized discipline within HR was a thing of past. Now, when we talk about free economic growth, we talk about stress. This was a specialized discipline in earlier days. Nowadays, what is happening, HR is taking altogether a new type of shape. It is taking up almost all kinds of responsibility when it is talking about development of a person, development of all round growth of a person. Then earlier what happened, industrial relation was merely seen as adherence to labor laws. When we talked about industrial relations, say about a decade ago, industrial relations only meant to be understanding of the labor laws of that particular country and abiding by those labor laws. But nowadays, industrial relations are also more than abiding to the labor laws of that particular country. What happens, the new professionals or seasoned HR leaders, they are now focusing on large section of HR fraternity, and they are clearly moving on war for talent. They are clearly moving on moving their focus on that whoever is talented, whoever is skilled enough, experienced enough, he will definitely be there, he will be surviving in the industry, he will be in the organization for a longer period of time, and for his retention the organization will go a long way. So we can see over here that industrial relations are now moving towards a shift is there from you can say traditional human resource management approach. It is moving towards strategic human resource management approach or international human resource management approach, where human resource is more flexible. It is more of a type of looking into each and every factor, all round development of the employee, whether it is professional or personal development of the employee, and taking into consideration the competence level, the skill level, the experience levels of the employees. Moreover, we can see that many multinationals are wiser enough, as young professionals are still groomed by moving from a factory to a corporate role, and thus developed into well-rounded HR professionals. Now, when we talk about this term, rounded HR professionals, rounded means these HR professionals are more experienced. They have been handling variety of problems while dealing with human resources. They are more experienced. They talk about human resource management. They talk about retention of skilled human resources in the organization. They talk about all round growth and development of these people within the organization. That means they are not only restricting themselves to various functions or processes of human resource. They are taking into action, they are taking into consideration the all round growth and development of the people. So they are working on a more comprehensive agenda than being working on a very narrow way of just performing the processes and the functions of the HR. The main focus in India is shifted from employer-employee relation to the employer-contractor relationship to avoid union-related issues. Now the companies are moving towards gig management. They are moreover dependent on the contractors who bring in a different people in the organization, and they are paid by these contractors only. So the organization was only responsible to take work from these people. The task is assigned to the people, rest everything is being handled by the contractor. Now most of the companies are now outsourcing the manpower to the third party agency, so that they can avoid union issues. So this will definitely give a way to the reduction of the trade unions that used to exist a long time back. HR professionals now focus on the basic, that means the basic retention of the employee, satisfaction of the employee, growth and development of the employee. These are the basic factors on which HR professionals focus. Maintain the right balance between the productivity versus engagement, trust versus legalese, and short term versus long term. So these three terms should also be taken into consideration, like more and more productivity issues should be taken up by the human resource management, as it used to focus on engagement earlier. They used to say that a person should be more and more engaged in his work rather than being productive. But now industrial relations have the focus of industrial relations has shifted from engagement to productivity of the employee. So if he is productive enough, the management is going to think about him, is going to look after the growth and development of that particular employee. Then secondly, trust versus legalese means how an organization reacts at the time of crisis. When a worker or his family needs help, goes a long way in building trust. So now human resource is more focusing on building up trust with the employees, so that they do not leave them early. They be retained with the organization for a long interval of time. While earlier what happened, the people just used to legalize the relationship between the management and the worker. Nowadays HR is also looking into long term going concern relationship with the workers. So for this they apply all sorts of processes or functions or to the HR, like training, development, growth to the employees in the organization. Thank you.